Dr. K. Sundar for making this event in a grand success, as well as the chief guest of this function, Mr. Ramesh Babu, Capgemini, for giving a keynote address for this workshop, personality development, as well as the organizer of this event, Mr. Kapilan and Ms. Priya, for making this event in a very grand success. And I thank Ms. Krishna Rosi for giving a few words about this workshop. As I want to say a few words about this personality development workshop, right? As most of the students I'm seeing in the third year, so this is a very good time having such wonderful program like this personality development and the other professional skill, how to enhance your professional skill. So definitely this workshop will enhance your knowledge, that ultimately helpful for your placement as well as your lifelong learning. Okay, I assure that why I'm saying is there are well renowned persons, they are going to give a talk, and they are going to address a lot of personality development issue, as well as the other career related guidance for you. Okay, so I wish you all for attending this great workshop uh, to make enhance your knowledge. I wish the grand success of this workshop. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. So now I request Dr. K. Sundar, Dean, School of Bio and Chemical Engineering, Kalasalingam Academy of Research Education, to provide his talk for this inauguration.
Thank you, Mr. Kabilan. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be part of this program, Caterpillar to Butterfly 2.0. Because we last year, we had a similar program which was organized by both Mr. Kabilan and Mrs. Krishna Rosi for our own students. So being a biologist, so they named this as Caterpillar to Butterfly. And that program went on very well. And our students, they enjoyed this program very much. So this time, Mr. Kabilan and Ms. Priya, they have come forward to extend this program. So we thought apart from our own students, we will also let in students from other institutions to participate. And they have also expanded this program, inviting many resource persons from industry. Particularly, we thank Mr. Aravind Babu from Capgemini, who is here today to start this session. And we also have Ms. Sweta from Pfizer and a host of our own alumni. Because Ms. Priya and Mr. Kabilan, they both are our alumni. So they could bring in together some 5 of our alumni, Mr. Nagarajan, Mr. Anshu, Ms. Revati, Mr. Satish, and Mr. Kuman. So they are all in the industries doing very well. So I hope they can share their knowledge. And this could be a very good grooming session for students who are midway, second year or first year of your BTech program in biotechnology. And we have been conducting a lot of workshops for the students as technical programs in biotechnology, as well as programs which will do their, personal grooming sessions. particularly on uh, soft skills. But this time, because of COVID-19, we had to conduct online programs. And both our faculty members as well as our students are now very comfortable in the online programs. I mean, using online platforms like WebEx or Google Meet. So this time we have put in a host of a very big line of workshops, which will be like catering to the needs of students at different stages. Yesterday we had a webinar on 19. So it's a series of webinars. Today evening, like we are having another webinar on vaccines. So that is a webinar which will be provided by Professor Rico from US. So following that, like we have like another 4 programs on COVID-19. So similarly, like we are organizing faculty development programs. Right now, your faculty development program is going on for the faculty members of biotechnology, which is on bioprocess. And then like we just completed another faculty development program that is on like how to write research projects and research papers. So similarly, we want to do one for students as well, like how to write reports. Right? It could be a smaller report which you submit based on your laboratory sessions, or it could be a report based on like whatever research that you do when you like when you go to upper classes, like you'll be doing mini projects and then like you'll be doing a final year project. So how to write and like what to do and what not to do. And similarly, like we have like many technical sessions going on for different for students who are in different stages, like for third year students, like who has an advanced level of understanding of biotechnology, and for second year students, first year students who are just beginning to learn what biotechnology is. So this program is aimed at those students, and then like followed by this, like we also have another program on protein bioinformatics, and then like we have programs wherein like we talked about I mean how a student of biotechnology can become an entrepreneur, bio-entrepreneur. And then like a particular program which focuses on more on into plant bioinformatics. So all these programs are like lined up. And then like some of you, like if you are interested, you can register for those courses as well. And they will have like faculty member, resource persons from our own faculty as well as from institutions or industries of outside other organizations. So I thank Mr. Arvind Babu for taking his time to come over and for conducting this session, as well as like I thank other resource persons. And I also congratulate Mr. Kabilan and Ms. Priya for coming forward to organize this workshop for students. And I hope you will all enjoy this, and you will have some take-home lessons when you complete this process. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I thank both our HOD, Dr. A. Muthukumaran, and our Dean, Dr. K. Sundar, for providing this inaugural address and providing their support from the starting, where we plan to have this particular personality development workshop. Okay, because usually every departments used to conduct technical related workshops, but our dean and HOD, they provide constant support in conducting these kind of personality development workshops. So with that note, I call upon Miss Priya, my fellow coordinator for this workshop, to provide the vote of thanks for this inaugural session, after which we'll start with our keynote address by Mr. Arvind Babu, Associate Consultant, Capgemini. So now I request Ms. Priya for providing vote of thanks.
A warm and graceful morning to one and all gathered here. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of Department of Biotechnology, I sincerely thank our chief guest, Mr. Aravind Babu, MC, for kindly accepting our invitation and gracing the inaugural function. I am very happy to express my thanks to Dr. K. Sundar, Dean SBCE, for awakening the passion and desire to support us as a ladder to reach the pole of success. Your constant encouragement has helped us in the best way, sir. Thank you, sir. I would also like to thank our HOD, Dr. A. Muthukumaran, for his guidance and enormous support towards this workshop. I wish to express my gratitude to the management for providing encouragement and support for this workshop. I especially thank Ms. Krishna Rosi for all-time support towards the workshop. I would like to thank Mr. S.J. Kabilan for organizing this workshop, Caterpillar to Butterfly 2.0. Last but not least, I thank all the students for showing their interest in the program. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. So, with that, our inaugural session comes to an end, and I again thank our HOD, Dr. A. Muthukumaran, and Dean School of Bio and Chemical Engineering, Dr. K. Sundar, for providing their presence in this for this morning inaugural session for the day one of personality development workshop Caterpillar to Butterfly 2.0. So now we'll move on to the initial first session of the day, that is going to be presented by Mr. Arvind Babu, MC Associate Consultant, Capgemini. So before handing over the session uh, to him, I thought of providing a short introduction about our speaker of the day. So, Mr. Arvind Babu, MC, is currently working as an associate consultant at Capgemini Limited, before which he has been serving as a project engineer at Wipro Technologies, working for multiple clients and engagements. He also completed his MBA from Bharatidasan Institute of Management at Trichy, and he also holds a bachelor degree in information technology from Kungu Engineering College, Erode. His hobby usually is like involving like writing books and LinkedIn articles on industry happenings and educational sector changes. He has delivered several guest lectures, radio shows, and WebEx sessions to widest of participants on several interesting topics. He has won several awards and accolades for distinguished works and skills along. He has authored a management case study titled Role of Leadership and Corporate Governance: The Case of Tata Group and Infosys, published in a Sage International Journal. It got recognized as most read and downloaded article of 2018 in the journal. He has also authored two books, namely Reforming Engineering Education, which is like focusing on the education change that is expected in India. Also, he has authored a book on cloud computing. So, this is like a brief introduction about our speaker of the day. And besides that, I also have a special point about him. Like, I have a special relationship with our speaker of the day, Mr. Aravind Babu, as he is my schoolmate. We both are like alma mater of Kendriya Vidyalaya, Madurai, where we both had a good relationship and friendship, and still we are continuing that friendship. And I actually admire him more for his uh, knowledge on educational sector more than his like on IT field, because being an IT person, still he think about how to change this educational sector. And actually, I'm a fan of his book Reforming Engineering Education. So with that note, I now kindly invite our keynote speaker, Mr. Aravind Babu, Associate Consultant, Capgemini, to provide his wonderful talk. I think I'm also expecting what he's going to speak, because the title itself is like very, very interesting. So I request Mr. Aravind Babu to take over the uh, mic. Yeah.
Is it audible for you?
Yeah, yeah. Wait 1 minute. I'll like make you a presenter. Then you can start your session. Yeah. 1 minute. Yeah. Yeah. Now you can start sharing. Wait.
First of all, thank you, Kavilan. Thank you for schoolmates way back long, long back. And not just the schoolmates, we are actually benchmates as well. So that's the kind of a great friendship we have had so long. And I also thank for the great welcome address that I have showed you for the participants and the whole participants. So we'll start with today's session. So I'd like to share my screen as well, show the video projection as well. So as you could, Kapilan, is the voice available enough?
Your mic audio is like a bit low. We can hear your voice, but it's like low. Can you kindly enhance it?
How about now? Kapilan? Hello, Kapilan?
Hello.
So I'm not able to share my screen.
Wait. Maybe as a presenter, you can see that option in share content. Is it working?
Yeah, I can see share the share option is disabled. Should I have to log in and reconnect again?
No, actually, I have made you as a presenter, uh, so I should be able
So
to.
are you sharing anything right now?
No, I have stopped sharing.
Still that the share option is disabled.
Can you check now the sharing option?
Because of the okay, now I'm
Yeah, now it's coming. Yeah.
is the PPT visible enough?
Now it again went. Can you please again? Actually, like, again. Yeah,
Okay, how about now?
yeah. It came. Yeah.
Yeah, is the voice audible enough?
Still a little bit low, but can you check with your laptop audio itself instead of headset?
Yeah, is my voice audible enough?
Yeah, now it's like very clear. Yeah, you can
Just a
go.
minute.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Kabilan, is it visible enough?
Yeah, now it's visible. Yeah, now you can, I think, yeah, it's very clear.
How about the screen?
Yeah, it's visible. You can put a slideshow, so we'll be looking
Yeah.
full screen.
So first of all, thank you so much for the warm welcome to the be it HOD sir or Dean sir or the entire faculty profile of the Kalsingam University. And also very much thanks so much to my friend Kabilan. So it's true that we have been schoolmates so long, it's been so long, and after so many years, we both of us are meeting with each other. So it's really a privilege for me coming all the way to the Kalsingam University and delivering this session today. Yeah. So Kabilan, is it fine or any issues?
Yeah, now everything is fine. Audio and video both are like, you can start
Yeah.
your
Is
presentation.
the screen visible enough?
Yeah, it's visible. Visible. Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, a very good morning to all the participants. So this session is completely meant for you, not for us. So I wanted to be very interactive, something very interesting. All of us should really speak or add some value to it, ask some lot of questions. It's not just like a speaker has just come to speak something, some content in the slide and just leave it up. So that's the first criteria I would like to say. So you can see the chat window. Yeah, Kamala.
Yeah, the questions that I think the participants can ask at the end of the session by the chat window. So I request all the participants, if you have any doubts or if you want to ask any questions, you can use the chat box to interact with our speaker.
Okay.
Uh,
I think no slideshow. I'm not able to see anything. So how is the visibility now, Kabilan?
yeah, it's now fine. This is also fine.
Yeah. Okay. So we now move to the presentation of the day. Yeah. So probably this is the session plan I made up today, like around just 25 to 35 minutes will be the session. And there is ample amount of time. I want a lot of questions to hear from the participants, asking some, various doubts or various explanations, etc. So I repeat again, see, this has to be a very interactive session. And to be frank, see, I've done a lot of WebEx session, but probably in the last 4 years, I never got opportunity to go WebEx session. So it has been just, in-person session where, I randomly ask a lot of questions to the participants. I just keep, make them just interesting. It's not that, just someone keeps speaking and all of you just feel lie down or you feel it's just a boring session. So it has to be a very, very interactive session. Only with that point of view, I just schedule all my sessions. So with that purpose, this entire session has been prepared. So this is the agenda for the session, like totally five parts. I just split up my session. Yeah, Kabilan? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you can.
Yeah. Okay, so we have just split up the session into five categories today for the day: introduction, the current scenario, engineer to employee transition, and about the etiquette in the office or in the corporate world. And finally, it can be a good question and answer session or a discussion with all the participants. Yeah. So, who are the targeted audience for today's function? Like, who are going to be part of it? So mainly this session is for the engineering students, be it any department, not just biotechnology or chemical engineering, across all form of domain of engineering student. It has been structured for that, and not just for like the final year student or third year student. I've just prepared for the whole lot of an engineering graduate right from the first year till the final year. And for all the faculties in the college, the people who are working in the college and handling subjects to them, and all the fresher graduates who are just about to complete the engineering for in their last semester or who have just now passed out for just a couple of months. So it's a June month now. So as we all know, the engineering year ends by the April month. Yeah, Kabila?
Yeah, you can start. It's like a blink noise. You can continue,
Okay.
and you don't need to stop.
Okay. So this is the targeted audience for today's session. So before I start, so all of us know we all are sitting in the home, and even this particular function must have happened in your campus. Me traveling till there and delivering some session to you, but all that didn't happen. So all of us are sitting inside the home, It's because of a huge biological disruption which has just impacted the entire globe. And even the World Health Organization says it's a very, very severe pandemic which has not happened in the past. So let me ask from all of you, how are you guys all feeling? You can type in the chat box. Participants? So how are you guys feeling with this COVID disruption? Are you all happy? Kabilan, no response from the participants. They seem to be so silent.
They will be like chatting. I request all the participants. You can interact through the chat box with the presenter.
Okay. So, okay, there seems to be no answer or
Yeah, you can
print
start.
off
You can
status of
continue. I think they will join in between. Yeah. So somebody has joined already. Yeah.
Okay. So, so firstly, we move to the current scenario. This is the first section of this particular PPT. So this is about like what is happening in today's 2020. So I've just put up a number like 3 and 5 zeros. Does anyone know what is this? Participants can just make a guess of it. What is this? Three and couple of zeros. Kabila, not even one student to answer.
They are like checking. Somebody's like typing. Yeah. Let's start. Someone
Okay, I'm just getting some good comments as well. Okay, definitely no, sir. That affected a lot in the areas of interest. No sufficient, sir. Definitely no, sir. That told, sir. Probably. That's good to see. So I think. So any idea what is this 3 lakh to do? I think now the screen is visible. So that was in the animation side. Okay. So let me just drill down further. So 3 comma 0 0 comma 0 0 0. So what is this? Probably let me go to the next slide. So this is nothing but the compensation part or the salary which is being given to all the fresher engineering graduates. And it generally falls between 3 lakh to 3 lakh 50,000 rupees for per annum. And probably the moment someone says your salary is 3.5 lakhs, I've seen what these engineering graduates do. Immediately 3 lakhs divided by 12, and you think, okay, so this is the money I'll be taking home. The salary I'll be drawing month on month once you graduate from your college. So please, absolutely not like that. Your CTZ, or it's also known as the compensation to the company, the cost to the company. So the cost to the company has several layers or several factors behind it. It's not just dividing that number by 12. So you have your PF, your gratuity, your insurance, your variable pay, etc. So this 3 lakh to 3 lakh 50,000 amount, when you're going to take back to your home, it's likely to fall in the bracket of 21,000 to 24,000 per month. So this is the salary which most of the engineering graduates were graduating not just from your Kalasan University or any college across Tamil Nadu or across India, I would say, is the take home package. So that's what's happening here in 2020. So what has happened? Like, what does the CTC numbers to do? So if you see from the year 2007, which is exactly almost 13 years behind. So that was the first time, the compensation to the fresher engineers were decided. And from then, there has been such a steep slope of hike. They have literally given no hike to the engineering folks. And just by 30 to 40 percentage is the change which has happened to the whole lot of compensation in 13 years. And just to put up here, a child which was born in 2007, by now he or she would be in the class of 8th or 9th. And in these 13 years, there is no change to the take home salary of the engineers. And the most saddest part of here is that, so you all know for the government employees, especially the Indian government, so every 10 years, they have something called as a pay commission. So every 10 years, they revise the salary of all the government employees, be it state government or central government employees or the government aided employees. And this particular compensation to the engineers from 2007 has been very, very low. It has been very steep low compared to all the government jobs which a person with just BSc or BCom or a non-professional degree gets. So that's the first point I would like to make here. The salary of engineers has just drastically gone down and has never increased. Okay, someone has said maybe the number of disease affected patients. Of course, I think it's a good point too. So I think the COVID number is somewhere around no 3.5 lakhs, or like I saw the number like 3,60,000 something, the death rate across the globe. So a good finding, I would say, but of course that was not the context of this 3 lakhs or so. Yeah, are you all with me, participants? Can just all of you type yes? Okay, I just got a couple of yes. Okay. Yeah, Kabilan, is the voice enough or is it very too low or the dull?
Yeah, yeah, now it's
Participants can
perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect.
it's perfect. Yeah, okay. So that was the first point I wanted to say. So for the engineering graduates, the pay stack has been very same. You ask your brother, you ask your sister, you ask your cousin, the the salary which they have been getting has actually never increased in the whole lot of decade, the past decade or so. So that's the first point of the session. Okay, now I do have some animations. I think these animations are not working up, so that's why I have to come back again and again. So now, can any one of you guess what is this number 2-3? Some quick chat up. Can one of you just understand what is this 2-3 I'm trying to refer here? Participants, can you just type what is this 2-3 I'm trying to refer here? Any guesses? Come on, yeah, this session is for you. It's not for me or not for your Kabilan sir. Now you have to make guesses. Okay, I just got a reply something related to the number of years. Okay. Any other guesses? What is this 2-3 I'm trying to refer here? Okay, now I'll move to the PPT directly. Yeah. So the participant was correct. I'm just trying to refer to some, year or particular, a tenure of an employee in an organization. Yes, it's about how many years employees working in one company. So all of you can go ask to your parents, your father or mother who has been working in some government job or some private companies. So how long have you been continuously working all along? And you'll be surprised if they say number like 33 years, 34 years, 37 years. Like they'll say I worked for 35 years, I got retirement, and again the company wants me to work for like few more years till your health is good. But for we, the engineering graduates, whoever is graduating from all these engineering colleges, not just Kalsilingam University, across the whole of India too, working even 5 years, 5 continuous years in one company is becoming a very challenging thing, which is not happening. You ask people in 4 years, the person will say, I have shifted three companies, one jump after another jump, 1.5 years, 15 months, 16 months. So that's a very small duration they have worked in one company. The person will be working in Chennai, he will move to Bangalore. A guy in Bangalore will come back to Chennai. A Chennai guy will go to Gurgaon and will go to Pune and Calcutta. So they've been shifting all around from one city to another city, searching for a best opportunity. So that's my second point of the session. The tenure which employees attach to an employer is very, very low. Okay. Now we saw two important points. One, your salary is not increasing to the fresher graduates, and people are not able to work in a company for many years. And do you know what these companies are doing with all these things? Can someone just guess what companies are doing it? Some quick chat up. People can chat here. So what do the companies are doing it? What is the strategy to know for all these things? Guys, can just type something. What do you feel? What's happening here? Any idea about it? Okay, I got one answer. Recruiting a lot of freshers to replace their old employees. Now, that's a very good point, I would say. Congratulations. Any other answers? What companies are doing up? I'll just wait for a minute. Come on, guys, this session is for you. It's not for me and not for Kabilan sir. Now, no one is going to, what is that? The moment you answer, people will feel no guilty. If I answer something wrong, what will happen? My faculties are seeing, my HOD is in the line. So please be very frank, be open, be very interactive. See, I never want to see. Since it's a online session, if it was a open session, I would have right away pointed many people. It has to be a very very interactive session. People should speak. People should contribute. So that's how the guest lectures actually become effective. In most of the sessions I have seen, the person will be keep on speaking for 1 hour, and after 1 hour, people will feel, "Appa, podunda sami vitta podu," and half of you will just sleep in the session itself. So that's actually not a good guest lecture, even for the person who's presenting. So we need to make up the people to speak a lot. That's what I'm trying to do. So I got another answer saying taking freshers with new innovative ideas. So both these participants, okay, one more answer to prevent the increment being given to the old employees and giving lesser salary to the new one. So all the 3 points are very, very valid, very good, and very interesting points you guys have made. Keep it up. So we now move to the presentation deck. So what these companies are doing is that, firstly, when they hire you, like some company is XYZ comes to Kalaslingam University, does the recruitment. So they come in the 7th semester, sometime in the month of August or September they come. So Kabilan, what is the placement time for Kalaslingam University?
It's usually the last two semesters, seventh semester and eighth semester, both
Okay,
semesters
so
probably.
whole of the final year.
Yeah, yeah.
They come whole of the year. Okay. So you're both your 7th and 8th semesters. So they have a lot of process, they recruit you. And once you finish your 8th semester and they ask you, have you done with all the subjects, is all your examination done? And they tell you, you come and join this thing. And all the companies have something called as a training, like 3 months or 2 months or even 1 month training they have. And even before the training, there's something called the pre-reading assessment, some online assessment, online learning system. They tell you that 25 hours of learning system you do from your home and come back and join. So what all these training sessions do is that they want you to leave all your 4 years of engineering, just unlearn, completely give up whatever you learned in your college, and then convert to relearn only whatever is required for that particular company, for that particular project, for that particular domain. What knowledge is required, what concept is required, what strategy is required in the company, and they want you to relearn. But don't you really think it is something, a very sad thing? Having doing 4 years of engineering, you have 8 semesters, two semesters each year. You learn like 6 or 7 theory papers and 3 or 4 laboratory, and totally like 45 or 48 theory papers you have, and you also have something called a project at the end of the 8 semester. Having done this much amount of work, a company say you leave everything, you just unlearn everything, your 4 years of engineering, and learn only what I say. Is it not really a very bad situation which is happening? But sadly, this is what is happening in all the big companies. And one of the HR, I just really saw them saying very sarcastically, the first thing they want all the freshers these days from the engineering college is that make him completely unlearn, because they feel the engineering value has added no value. People have just read some subject, some concept which is of no use to me. Just some theory terms, big theory answers, theory concepts, or some laboratory program which is nowhere, which is actually outdated. They feel that's not even required for that particular company. And then they say, once we unlearn that entire person and we teach him what is required for my company, for my project, and that's how they feel they can add productivity to it, which is actually a very sad situation, I would say. And ultimately, what these companies are doing is that, for you, the freshers, be it from Kalaslingam University or from any engineering colleges, they are paying very, very less salary to you, the fresher graduates. This 3.5 lakhs, 3.5 lakhs, 3.6 lakhs, just 23,000 or 24,000 is the salary they're taking to pay. And the job roles, whatever jobs they are giving you, is again, a very, very minimal work. The work is something which is actually obsolete in nature, I would say. Most of the jobs in the companies wherever you freshers join is the most minimal task is given to you, at least for the first 1 year. They feel that this person is not trusted enough. I can't giving him some critical work or a critical task, and he will just completely collapse everything. And they feel you also don't have a technical knowledge or technical scope to do it. And because of these two things, your job role is also gone. You're also not given a visibility. You're also paid a less. It ultimately leads to a very stagnant career growth. The career growth just bluntly comes down. And to overcome these career growth, the pay stack or a good job role, at least it takes 2 to 3 years for the person to overcome the situation. That's what happens. Yeah, Kabilan, is it fine?
Yeah, continue, continue. Yeah, it's fine.
I can just hear some hello hello sound coming off of what's that?
No, actually, I couldn't. Everyone's mic is muted. Yeah, that's
Okay,
a
okay.
beep sound will be coming in between. It's
Oh,
recording,
okay.
so
I
you will
got it.
get hear a beep sound.
So the participants, are you all with me? Is it making sense whatever I'm speaking? I just got few yes, couple of yeses. Okay, okay. So till now, that's the point I would like to say. What's happening to you freshers? It's not just for one department, just biotechnology or chemical engineering or any form of BE or BTech. It's across the whole lot of the engineering graduates. This is the situation. And this presentation is like, how do we overcome these situations? How do I get a good salary, good job role? My career growth starts better right from the day one I join a company. So that is what we are trying to do here. Yeah. So we now move to the next slide. I think slowly we are getting to know more and more technical things slowly as well. So how do you tackle them? So I just want to add, that's what I was saying. So how do you handle this problem? So it's like even before a problem is going to occur, I would always say, be more proactive. You just react even before the problem is going to occur. So that's the point of view, you third year graduates or second year graduates, more than the final years, you have ample amount of time to handle them. So I'm saying we honestly need an engineer who is very quality in nature, who has a lot of quality in nature, and who is also very smart. See, again, I could have probably some 7 or 8 years ago, a person would have said, engineers need to be a hardworking engineer. Now, what is a hardworking? And the definition in those days was that a person must be very dedicated, a person must be very sincere, a person must spend lot of time, do lot of work, and also complete the work. That was the definition. Probably 10 years ago, when I was a student, in every presentation, should be hardworking engineer. And today in 2020 or 2019, I know that particular word called hard work just got replaced. Hard work, they said, what is the use of doing the same work the whole day? You spend 10 hours sitting inside a laptop and doing the same work. And then they talk, it's about, smart work. How smart, how unique you are, how different you are, how distinguished you are. A work which can be done in 10 hours, how you can automate and do it in 2 hours. That's called the smartness, which is actually missing with whole lot of engineering graduates. Whole lot of engineering graduates. And companies are using the term by called relativeness. Engineer must be relatively smart enough with a lot of quality in it. Now, how many of you have heard this word called relativeness? I want to hear. Can you guys type in the chat? What do you mean by relativeness? I'd like to hear some couple of comments from the participants. Relativeness meaning, what do you mean by that? Students, what do you mean by relativeness? Any idea about it? There is something also called theory of relativity, I think, somewhere in physics it comes up. Any idea what is this relativeness or relativity I'm just trying to talk about? Now that's a very important thing which I would like to make a point here. Students, okay, so I got two answers. The quality or state of being relative multi-talented, have some connectivity between some two or more things. Yeah, any more answers? What do you mean by relativity? So that's something, I think we all of us need to pay a lot of attention, which is why I'm stressing so much, being so connected with others. So before that, Kabilan, so in Kalaslingam University, you have a relative grading system or it's like a fixed grading system?
For few courses we have a fixed grading, and for few courses we have relative grading. It depends on the course.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's good to hear. Like, 50, some courses are having fixed grading system and some are having relative grading system. So you guys should really interact with IITs or NIT folks and ask them what is this relative grading system. Now I think this relative grading system is relatively very new to the whole colleges across Tamil Nadu to the Anna University as well. But somewhere in other states, in NITs or IITs, that's not the case. For many years, they have been having this relative grading system. So this relativity system, all are same. That's what I'm going to explain now. See, in a class, there are like 40 students or 40 or 45 students. So some 10 years ago, if 40 students used to attend the interview, the situation was like, some 20 students will never perform well. They won't do well and naturally can say, நீ ரிஜெக்ட் ஆயிடுவ மச்சான் நான் நல்லா பண்ணல மச்சான் நான் கண்டிப்பா செலக்ட் ஆக மாட்டேன் இந்த கம்பெனில. So out of 45, 20 are gone. So the rest 25 are. And in that 25, there will be 5 students who will be multi-talented, who will be really so good that any situation, any task, or anything is there, they will perfectly do it. So those students are like, nee kandipa select aayirva macha. And before that, is everyone comfortable with Tamil as well, or is there someone like North Indian or someone outside Tamil also there? Kabilan?
There are few students, some 5 to 6 students. There are like non-Tamil.
Oh, okay, fine. Then let's stick to English itself. So that's better. So, like, in a class of 45, as I said, now 20 won't perform well, and there'll be 5 students who will really perform very well. And you think, okay, you will get selected in that particular company. And between this 5 and between this 20, there is one very important category, which is the medium class. So, which is like, the 20 students. They, if they work hard, they do well, they can easily crack. If they don't work hard, they give it up, they just lose everything. So these are the students who require a lot of attention. So out of these 45 students, how do you relate between each other? So that's this whole relativity all about. And what is happening in today 2020 is that the same 45 students today in 2020, they go for an interview, you'll be really surprised. At least 30 to 35 students will do very, very well. Not 5 students or not 20 students. 35 out of 45 students will perform very, very, very well. But the company has just 2 job openings, just 2 job roles, only 2 people they can hire. So what will they do with other 33 students out of 35? And there comes this relativity. How do you relatively say that this person is better than him? He is better among these 8 candidates. He is better among these 15 candidates. So you rank them accordingly. Rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, rank 4, rank 5, rank 6. And that ranking is also based on the whole of 35 students. So that is this relative grading all about. So this is the same system these companies are applying. See, one company comes to Kalaslingam University and in one interview panel, like almost 7 students in your same class they go. So 2 of them get selected and 5 of them they don't get selected. And you keep thinking, what he did, no, I missed it. And I did very well, but still they didn't select me. So it's all about, the companies are looking at how you're performing relatively. Where do you fall in this relative grading system? And the same way, your whole grading system, your mark system, if you go to all the IITs, NITs, IIMs, it's not like, getting 70 marks is like A grade. 85 marks is B grade. Not like that. What is the first mark in the class? The first mark in the class itself like 65. So the person who gets 65, the top 10 percentage of students who get from 65 percentage, they get A grade. And the other 20 percentage of the students from that 65 grade, the below grade, they get B grade. So that kind of, relatively you're being graded. So I think that is the best way, you can really say where do you stand in your own section. So that was about this whole point about this relativeness. So I you can clearly see I just highlighted it. because today this is what is happening in all the job interviews. Wherever there is a high competition, the competition is very very high. So companies are going to this relative form of measuring. Yeah, students, are you with me? Is it making sense? A quick comments in the section box. Is it making sense? I think I was talking a lot about this relativity, students. Okay, so we now move to the next session. So I just mentioned a word in my previous deck called quality and smart engineer. So the next question: what is quality? What is smart? And what is that? You mean to say the person is quality, the person is smart? So see, if you go to Google and search, I think there'll be hundreds of Google searches. What is a quality engineer? What is a smart engineer? And there'll be a lot of articles, news articles. Some person would have said etc. But just four simple things I would like to say that makes a person a smart engineer, that makes a person a qualitative. So the first point is, be strong with your fundamentals of engineering. Always ask a question, for everything, what, why, and how. And I'm sure this first sentence is something your teachers are telling you every day in the class. Every day your HOD or your dean or your faculty is telling you. Read the fundamentals. Be strong with the basics. Understand what they're coming to say. Fundamental படிக்காம ஃபைனல் இயர் வராத. Your faculties would have said you often. ஃபைனல் இயர் வந்துட்டு அந்த செகண்ட் இயர் டவுட் கேட்டுட்டு இருப்பேன். Coming to second year, coming to final year, you're asking a doubt from the second year. So what do you do in the second year? Your faculties must be telling you often, right? Be strong with the fundamentals, I would say. And the second point being, very good in, analyzing the things. You analyze everything. Particular data is given, a particular information is given, or any content which is given to you. How do you analyze them? How do you analyze them? How do you analyze and see the things? Yeah. And the third important part, I think most of your placement chairman, 1 minute. Kabilan, can you put everyone on mute?
No, actually, it's like participants are adding, so that sound only we are. It's not
Is it like
discussion.
some
We can
disturbance
see
and
the.
it's getting every minute? No, no, someone is, I think someone's speaking, Kabilan.
Actually, everyone is on. Everyone is on. So it's like the participants, whenever they are adding, you will get a sound. So that sound only is there.
Oh,
Now we have an increase in participants.
what's that making sound? So the 2 points: be strong with your fundamentals of engineering. It's not just about biotechnology or chemical engineering or whichever department you choose. Right from your first year till your final year, be clear with that fundamental, what they actually the scores of the subject is all about. And without that, I see students graduating. They completely don't understand what is that, what was fundamental all about that. And again, analyzing the thing. Now you need to link concepts, link things. Just when a particular concept is told to you, how do you link with application? And that is what this analysis to what is the point about good and analyzing things. And thirdly, the communication skills. So I think your placement chairman or your placement faculty or the companies that are visiting you, they would have often said this information: communication skills, communication skills, communication skills. So the very important point is be good in not just about the talking perspective, but be good in writing as well. And again, communication just does not stop with the English alone. So I would like to say, people should look forward to learn many new languages, like your German, your French. So these are the two other languages. Like there are multiple languages, but predominantly there are a lot of manufacturing companies across Germany. So Germany is one of the country which says people only with German language can visit their country. They can apply a visa. And same is the story with a couple of other European nations too. So I'm not trying to do stressing about Germany. Just one of the example I like to highlight. So my whole point is communication, does not just stop with the English. You can be good with multiple languages and you can highlight in the resume. And for your information, there are a lot of central government jobs for your biotech for BTech biotechnology. The one of the criteria for that central government job is the person must know Hindi. And again, I know that this again the word about Hindi becomes a little bit controversial. So setting aside all that controversy or political thing, it's not I'm telling learn Hindi. Let's learn multiple languages. So apart from Hindi, if I'm good at some other language which can help me get a good job. So there are people I've seen who know six, seven, eight languages, good in communication. So it adds a lot of value to them. Their profile looks very different in the competition. If four of you in the interview panel do very well, but three of them don't know one language, and the person is going to be posted somewhere in Rajasthan, but the one of the candidate knows Hindi. So naturally they will reject the three applications and the one who knows Hindi is selected. So that's how this language barrier comes again and again to selecting the candidate. And the fourth point, something I'm sure that's very much to do with the whole of the workshop, personality development workshop. And I think there are a couple of guest lectures are lined up. And at the end of the day, I think this is what the whole workshop is trying to communicate: good attitude. So develop a very good attitude, I would say, students. I see a lot of students, do the basic way how to behave in a group, behave in a corporate or behave in a college. So even after graduating from college, I see people, speaking like that, the body language or the way they do things, it just irritates and annoys the people. The whole point of attitude is just completely lost. And the another point is that for you, the engineering graduates, so you're spending 4 years in a college, there must be some change year on year. When you come to a second year, you can't be like how you are in a first year. When you come to a third year, you can't be like how you are in a second year. There should be some gradual change. There should be good transformation, each and every year. And at the end of your fourth year, when you're saying goodbye to your college, vacating at a hostel, there'll be some tears, there'll be some, what is that? The lightning ceremony is held. The what is that? What do we call the last ceremony? The farewell ceremony. Yeah, the farewell ceremony has all of you cry, you take photos, you post to social media. But at the end of the fourth year in your farewell ceremony, you should look and say, when I joined this college in the first year, what I was and what I'm today. There should be such a gradual change in you at the end of your fourth year. A good in attitude, a good in thinking, a person who can speak multiple languages, and that's how you completely qualify as a very great engineer with a lot of qualities from that particular institute, and that's how you become a good product to the industry. So only these 4 points I'm stressing here. Yeah, students, are you all with me? Students, okay, I got a couple of yeses. So we almost done with the two parts. So yeah, so one of the important things. So now you would have read in the news because of this COVID disruption, this pandemic disruption, there has been a huge lockdown. So sometime from the last week of the March till probably as of June 30th, the government is saying there is a lockdown. There are a lot of restrictions are there. The economic activity is handled. So because of that, the job market is hit hard. People are not able to get a job, etc. So what will happen to my job? Is there a job security? Will I get a job or not? Many of you have these answers. And here is the next slide. So I think I was told this particular for today's number of participants, maximum you're from this BTech biotechnology and some other courses related to this biotechnology or this biofield or predominantly to the chemical industry. And you'll be really surprised to know that for you, the BTech biotechnology guys or people from this chemical engineering industry or the whole biological industry, there is such a big opportunity because of this COVID 2020. We want a lot of engineering graduates for your research and development. See, there is a firm in Pune, which even till last week I read. Now, that particular firm is the one which has developed so many vaccination in India. I think even for polio, for chicken pox, or like I think even for smallpox as well. It was that particular company which designed the vaccination. And now that company is saying by by July or August, the vaccination for COVID is going to be ready. Now, how did they develop the vaccination? What were they doing? And who's behind all this? So it's all you, the engineering graduates, from your biotechnology, from your chemical engineering, for all these, the biological department. It is you who have contributed to it, and naturally, there's going to be huge, abundant job opportunity, the job role, the job opening, the innovative thinking, the next couple of months. And one a sad point is that I'm not trying to say just because the COVID has happened, we're getting a lot of job opportunity. Not with that point. I'm just saying there is often a speak that you're not going to get a job. The job market is down, the economy is down, but still there is opportunity everywhere in every time, provided a student has a good talent and an inbuilt nature to handle any situation. And that's my point. Yeah. Okay, now we are almost close to the third and the fourth section. So there is one question I would like to ask. What do you mean by a startup versus an MNC, a multinational company? Any idea about it, students? Can you quickly chat here? A difference between startup and an MNC or a multinational company? Any idea about it? What is a startup? What is an MNC? There is absolute silence here. Startup salary. Okay. So no other answers from participant. I think that's again a very important point. I feel I should put up here in this section. What is a MNC? What is a startup? Okay, now let me go to the section back. Okay, now see now if you ask the same definition some 10 years ago, what is a startup? What is a MNC? A person would have said startup is a small company and MNC is a big company. Okay, startup companies have no prior experience, but MNCs have a have experience. Now, okay, that's a good point. I like to comment. Startup does not need the experience, but the MNC needs the experience. Okay. Any other point? Okay. So we go to the session directly. Okay. Now that's where the good points. So generally people will say startup is like a small company, MNC is like a big company. Oh, very sad. So that's not the definition I would say. See, now what is a startup? Now, startup is of course a company which is numerically having less number of employees, which is not big vast, but it is a niche company into one domain, which is specialized in one domain. So for your BTech biotechnology, there'll be like some certain booming research area. So I remember some years back there's something called stem cell research, stem cell therapy. So there will be one company by name XYZ Biotechnology Limited, which is specialized in your stem cell therapy. So that's a startup which will employ like some 40, 60 employees and will be doing a lot of research in that. And now MNC or a multinational company, of course, numerically it has a lot of employees. And geographically it is spread across many cities or even many countries. So they are into multiple domains or multiple areas of research. Now, like not just stem cell therapy, like they'll be into five, six domains, five, six, a couple of verticals, a couple of horizontals. Like their business is very vast. They'll be working for multiple clients. Like there'll be like 15, 20 programs. There'll be like 300, 400 projects they'll be having. There'll be a lot of employees working for one project, for one program, and one employee working for multiple projects. So such kind of a huge diverse structure with so much of vastness in their ways of working, their culture, and their whole structure about it. So that's this multinational company all about. So one of the point I said, the salary of engineers is very low, so they're not getting a good pay. I said. So the answer goes here. So try to get a good job in startup. It's really good, getting a job in startup and working there at least for 2 to 3 years as a fresher. So the pay is going to be very high. Like the starting pay for most of the engineering jobs, you can say like it's between 5 to 6 lakhs, but I've still mentioned your 4.5 lakhs. And your take home can be just twice that 3 lakh amount. So it was like 21,000 to 24,000. your take home will drastically increase to like 40 to 45,000 per month. So if you get a job opportunity or job offer in any startup or small company, don't reject it or have any serious second thought about it. It's really good to join. And I'm sure your parents will immediately ask, is it a good company? அது நல்ல கம்பெனியா அந்த கம்பெனி எங்க இருக்கு and they will even say one sentence, I have never heard the name about it அந்த பேரை கேள்விப்பட்டதே இல்லையே. So startups are like companies which have not branded themselves, which are not very well known. See, there is a company by name called Linux International Technology Services. Now this is a startup which is there at IIT Madras Research Park, and this company is hiring a lot of students from the IIT Madras campus, and even the starting salary is like 9 to 10 lakhs per year. But does anyone knows this company name, Linux International Private Limited? Nobody knows. Probably a very niche set of employees who have seen it, who have been part of the interview process, or who have just interacted with the clients. They may know it, not all of them. So that makes it different. And again, for a lot of engineering graduates from eminent institutes like your IITs, your NITs, or your IIMs, they need to start up a company. They need to be owner of a company. So that's how they are being tuned in their college. So if you look at most of the startups, it's all run by the engineering graduates from the eminent institute. They don't go and join a job with anyone. Rather, they become an employer. And as you all know, in India again, the startup India is becoming another big buzz across the whole industry. The government is saying start a lot of companies, give a lot of job opportunity to engineering graduates. So that's how this startup trend is becoming a very big trend, I would say. And finally, I would conclude that for this section, when you're going to be a quality engineer, a smart engineer, what happens is that you get a very good pay. Your pay is very high. So right from the day you complete your engineering graduation, be it BTech, biotechnology, or any department, you have all the qualities. You get a good job, you get a good pay. You end up in a very great organization, where you get to learn many things. The learning graph is too higher. And the last point, I think it's not visible. So it's like great career ahead. The career path is far better. So once you get a job in a startup, these 4 points are very, very, visibly seen. But unlike, joining a very fresher job role in a big MNC, you're starting pay just 3 lakhs with a non-interesting job role, and your career remains just stagnant. Yeah, so that's my whole point of telling you, be a qualitative and a smart engineer right from the day you graduate, and right from the day you are a student in any XYZ department and any XYZ engineering college. So this is the last section of the today's slide. Okay, I have one more. Okay, both are same. So engineer to employee transition. So So what I generally see is that there are a lot of gaps between an engineer and an employee. You ask some question to a final year engineering graduate, he or she will not be in a good position to explain many things. There is a lot of gaps. So how do you transition them? So some of the fundamental features I'd like to add here. So as I already said, be strong in your fundamentals and understand them clearly. And the second point is like, see, you have like 6 or 7 subjects, but you think each subject is different. You don't understand what is this subject to do, why I'm reading this subject, and why this subject has come in this particular semester. So my point is that link all the concepts, link all the subjects, you connect them together. It's not a separate entity. Now Kabilan sir is taking one paper for the third year, and in the same semester another faculty is taking one paper. You should be in a position to link these subjects. Now what is that? The link between them. It's not a separate entity. And thirdly, where do you apply these technical concepts? See, I have often seen students, the moment I ask them what is explain this particular technical concept, technical definition, they can write 3 or 4 pages answer, like a 10 mark question, like a 15-mark question. They can write a very big answer. And the next question I ask them, can you tell me in which industry is this technical concept being applied? There is such a big pin drop silence. They won't even understand why this technical concept is applied in that industry, what's happening in that company, which field is using it. So read a lot of industry happening. And I do agree that see you can't understand all the technical concepts or apply all the technical concepts, because there is a lot of time constraints. In 8 semesters you have 6 theory papers. I'm not telling you, you have the application knowledge of all the subject papers. So at least some 50 to 60 percentage of the industrial application is very, very must and important. And the third point, assignments, projects, and internship. Now, what do you guys do with your assignments? Right? The one person writes in the class, the topmost student or the student who's skilled enough, and all the 45, 60, or 50 of you in the class just cut, copy, paste. Isn't it? Let me hear some answer. How do you guys do your assignments? Kabilan, are they given individual assignments or the entire class is given the same assignment?
Usually there will be like 5 assignments. Out of which some 2 to 3 will be like individual and 2 will be like group act.
Okay, okay, group activity. So in those days, at least, we had a paper pen, assignments, and we had to go to the friend's house or friend's hostel room to copy the assignments. And today, the so-called technology, right, the WhatsApp technology, or the social media technology, I would say, take a photocopy, or there is also a mobile application like your cam scanner. Your cam scanner can just scan your entire page, just attach it in the email. There's a group mail deal. The entire class can just copy the entire assignment, and the teacher will be thinking, who did this assignment, who is the owner of this assignment, and they will never find out. So that's what's happening most of the colleges. I think that's not the situation is not that bad enough, right, Kabilan?
Yeah, it's not like that. But actually, for this past 2 months, they are doing completely online.
Okay. So what I would say is, students, no, try to show some difference. If there are 45 students in a class, what is that different you can do in your assignment, and how do you stand out in the crowd? So as I clearly said in the relativity, out of 45 students, how different is your assignment? How unique you are with the assignment? Show that. That's my whole point. And secondly, now every college is now having a compulsory internship. Kabilan, are they having compulsory internship with Kalasanam?
Yeah, they have an internship for which they also have a credit, which is like mandatory for their
Good,
graduate.
good, good. So sadly, during my engineering days, we never had this compulsory internship. It was like, why you should do internship. So today in 2020, the best solution to become a smart engineer, become a qualitative engineer, or someone who can easily get a job. Please do a lot of internship. Not just don't restrict with one internship. Even every year, I would say do one internship, and you'll be really surprised. There are many companies which see your internship performance. You really perform very well. He's someone a very talented guy. They'll immediately give you a job. They're ready to give you a job on the day one itself. So that's the best way to get a job. And in the future, you won't believe, no company is going to come for your technical interview. They feel that just 45 minutes or 2 or 3 rounds of interview, anyone can easily do some halabala, read some online things, just give lots of false stories, etc., and clear the technical round. And companies are going to strictly hire via your internship performance only. They will come, they will hire some of you for internship, and they will see your performance like 3 years, 3 months, or 2 months, how you are performing in the internship. Only based on that, they will give you a job offer. So my very important request is that do a lot of assignments, do a lot of projects, and do a lot of internship. And this assignment thing, one important point. So once you probably, I don't know how many of you would like to do MBA, the Master of Business Administration. So for us in MBA, 50 percentage of the curriculum, the 50 percentage of that particular semester is only assignments. There will be lots and lots of assignment works will be given to us. Like each person has to do different. And even our entire grading system or the assessment system, 50 percentage is aligned with this assignment. But I think engineering, that's not the case. Probably some 20 percentage or 25 percentage is when you get your assignment. And again, we all do a same internship, or we just like that, do a same assignment like some. But that's not the. So in the whole of MBA or your postgraduate program, assignment plays a very important role. And my request to you, the engineering folks, is that pay a lot of attention to your assignments. In every subject, do a couple of assignments. Only then your knowledge increases. Your subject knowledge in that particular concept, your technical application increases drastically, rather just learning something statistical or something which is a theoretical based out of it. Yeah. And so we are just about to complete the session, just a couple of more slides. So is everyone here connected with me, participants? Can I quickly hear? Participants? Okay. So I think I also exceeded the time. So really sorry for that because I think I spent a lot of time in the explanation. So being a technology graduate again, so this BTech, Bachelor of Technology. See, one the important thing you should know is that the technology is something which is dynamic. See, today in 2020, you're saying one technology is something which is booming. But after 2 years, in 2022, 2024, some other technology will replace it. So it's going to be a dynamic cycle all along. So that was not the case with our parents. But during the 1980s or 1970s, once a technology came, a technology was there, it will be always the same. It will never change. So this dynamic nature is going to be there always. So I would request be prepared for this dynamic thing. So we are at the last section of this whole session. I just have three more slides and I'm just going to complete my section. So office etiquette. So this section is especially, I think, the final year engineering graduates and even to some extent the third year engineering graduates must pay a lot of attention. So the first slide says college student and I just put up a huge arrow and an office employee. See, there is a lot of gap between a student who graduates from a college to an office employee. So that's what I'm trying to say. There is such a big gap, and there's a drastic change that happens within once you graduate and once you join a company. And this gap is so high that when you go and join a company as an employee, there are some basic information most of the fresher graduates miss. You really don't know how to behave in a place, how to talk in a place, how to convey information. And it becomes so sensitive that it creates a very serious black mark on you, a black mark for your college. There are several companies which have not hired or have not come back to those colleges where they felt these graduates from these colleges have no basic sense how to behave. Their performance is pathetic. No, let's not go to that engineering college and hire for the next year. They will just blacklist your college. They will never visit your campus again. Your placement chairman may visit them again 3 or 4 times, giving them a invitation that you please come and visit us, but they will hardly consider. So it's equally important we learn, how to behave in an organization where there are lots and lots of employees. A person with 10-year experience, a person with 50-year experience, a person with 70-year experience, etc. Uh, so let's understand what happens in office. Like where do you fit in? See, generally there'll be something called a huge program. There'll be 200 or 300 employees. Kabran, can I just take 1 minute of break? Just a minute.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Once.
And for all the participants, a short information like once after the session, I'll upload the attendance. Okay, so as a Google form, the link for the attendance will be posted in the chat group. Okay, so in the chat box, you will receive the link for attendance.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah,
Kabran.
you can continue.
Yeah, students, we are about to complete the session. It's just a matter of 5 more minutes. I'll not be dragging you. So what happens when you join a company? How do you fit in? So it generally has this layer or a common structure. Now this varies from one company to another company, one business to another business. Generally, there's a huge program, like 300, 400 employees will be working in one huge program. And that one program will have multiple small teams or small projects. So the project and the team is same. And that particular project will have one manager. So you'll be reporting to that manager from the day when you join that particular company. And under that manager, there'll be a lead or a POC or a mentor, a project mentor. And it is with this mentor or POC, you'll be interacting daily. So he or she will, will guide you daily. you'll be learning things from them, you'll be working under them, etc. And lastly, you are the bottommost person in the hierarchy structure. So this is what happens when you join a company from the day one. So this is the hierarchy. And secondly, the last slide, what I would say is that once you join any company or any project you're deployed, you please quickly learn everything. So maximum 3 months is your honeymoon period. Anything more than 3 months is not your honeymoon period. You can't keep saying, I don't know, I was not aware, I'm not aware, etc. Take quickly hints or notes of all that in the all the components in the project. And the third point being, improve your speed or execution of a work. When a work is given to you, suppose it is going to take 1 hour of doing the work, you quickly try to execute the work and do it in just 15-20 minutes. It's not that keep writing everything point by point or spending 2 hours of time and you keep saying, see, I'm doing for the first time, I'm new to the company, I'm new to the project, so I'll take a lot of time. So maybe once or twice is fine. Improve your speed or execution of every project activities, and don't give such lame excuses every time. And this particular terminology, 18 months, probably you'll hear it in every company you go. See, 18 months is the time which a person becomes a critical resource. You become a subject matter expert of that particular project or that particular process. Now, after 18 months, you can't say, I don't know this, I didn't learn this, I was not aware of this, etc. So this 18 months is the time, you should become a critical resource. Yeah. So two more slides, we are done. And I have often seen people like your college days. You come to the college, you sit in the canteen, you think, okay, all is done, I got my attendance. That's not the way a company works. It's not about the swipe timing. Your productivity matters. And there are a lot of sudden changes happen in a project. You'll be working in something, a manager will come and say after 1 week, see, the work you've done is fine. Now we have to improve that result. Now do this something in a different way. Just change it. Bring a new change. So such sudden changes happen. And the third and fourth point, very, very important. See, professionalism must be maintained. There must not be someone, policing around you, behind you always. You do this, do that, don't do that, see the warning, behave, etc. And never fight with anyone. I see a lot of freshers, getting up some quarrel with your managers, with your leads. Just get irritated with them. The issue became very personal. See, in your office or in your workplace, professionalism must be maintained. Never have a personal issue or ego with anyone. And there are a lot of company policies. A company policy says, come with this dress code, come at this particular time. So this is the mandatory working hours. They say, even for Diwali day, you're going to work. You have to work. So try to respect that company protocols. Yeah. So that is it. We have just done. So this was one of the one of the last slide. So if you have seen the title of this my session, Becoming a Smart and a Skillful Employee in UCA World. Has anyone heard what is this UCA all about? Any idea what is this UCA stands about? Yeah, students, any idea what is this UCA? I think you would have seen the acronym of that particular definition, but any idea what is this UCA? VUCA. Students, are you all listening? Okay, so you have seen it. Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Okay, that's correct. Okay, I agree. That's the full form of UCA. Now, what is that UCA all about? Are we living in UCA world? Any idea? Has anyone known about it? Okay, so I'll give up the answer for this and conclude the session. So yes, the answer is right. UCA is all about volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. See, especially today in this COVID 2020, I think we are in this VUCA world. See, everything is volatile, everything is uncertain. See, nothing is predictable. We are not aware what can happen next, and everything looks ambiguity. And this VUCA is a word. This has come from during the time of the World War, during the Second World War, from an army situation. So it's like everything is unstructured, nothing is clear, everything is ambiguity. Now, with this unstructured thing, how can you make it structured? That is what is UCA. See, now you can see this COVID situation. There is no clarity what can happen. So, like close to 2 lakh people are infected in India, but like 6,000 dead. And still the government says the extension, that the lockdown is extended. And but still the business has to run, right? You can't keep shutting the shop for more than 2 months. You need a job. You can't sit in a home all along. So how do you handle such kind of ambiguity and uncertainty? That is what is this VUCA world about. And today, especially this COVID times, this COVID disruption, this pandemic time, that's the best example of this VUCA world. So never give up, students. No, I think there is when there is something bad or something which is volatile happening, something good will also happen. So all the best. You are the best. So this is my contact ID, my email ID, and my LinkedIn as well. If you have any doubts or any clarification, you can just reach out to me. And I'll also be sharing the PPT to Mr. Kabilan. I think he can pass it on to you. So yeah, so we are just open for any questions or anything you want to ask me. I think I'll be really happy. I'll be there for some couple of more minutes. The chat window is open for all. Yeah.
Students, if you have any questions to a speaker, you can post it in the chat box.
No questions? You guys didn't understood anything, or you feel everything is fine?
Participants, now actually we are not in the classroom session, so you don't need to care about coming in front and asking the questions. So you can just put it in the chat box, like how you do it in the Facebook comments or Instagram comments. Yeah. Come on.
So was everything clear, or you felt was something disconnected? So no answers, just one person has replied. Participants? So one more answer, I got it just now. Okay, I think Kabilan, we are done with the session.
I think no more questions, and I thank Mr. Arvind Babu for providing this wonderful session amidst his busy schedule. Actually, as all of you know, everyone is currently working from home from morning till night. So even after this busy schedule, he spent some valuable time, and it's like very very. I hope it is like very very informative for all the participants present here, and I think it's not even like department specific. So whatever he spoke today is like common thing for all the departments, okay? Especially for the pre-final years and final years, as you are going to face the placement session in a few months, okay, or in a few days. So this session would have been like very very informative and useful for you for your futures. Yeah. So with that note, I thank Mr. Arvind Babu for being with us for the initial keynote session and having this informative lecture. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Kabilan.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah.
So for the participants, I have added a Google form link in your chat box. So you can provide your feedback for the session as well as the attendance for the session in the same uh, form. And Arvind Babu, I will share the feedbacks later once all the participants filled in. So maybe they will fill it in the feedback forms. Even though they have not answered properly in the chat box, I hope
Sure,
they
sure,
would have
sure.
given in the chat. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Bye. So, if you want to say in words, or like, so participants kindly fill in the Google Forms. This is like for your attendance as well as for feedback for this session one. Okay, so kindly fill it in. In few minutes, we'll be moving on to the next session by Dr. Sankatani Sharnach. Thank you, Arun.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, fan is running around. Somebody commented heavy rain. Yeah, now fan is running around.